welcome to FSElite's coverage here at FSExpo 2026. I'm with ARSim and their product, PlaneEnglish. I'm with Muharrem, and we are going to talk about who they are, what they do, and what's next for them. So thank you very much for your time this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
Enjoyed the show so far?
Oh, it's been awesome. It's our second year doing it, so awesome.
Nice. Well, welcome back. These things are always my favorite weekend of the year. For those at home who might not have discovered you yet or know who you are, what is it that you do and what's your background?
Yeah, so Muharrem, I'm a co-founder and CEO of PlaneEnglish. What we provide is my background. So I'm an aerospace engineer by training, private pilot, and been involved or started PlaneEnglish about 8 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so we created it years ago. 7 years ago, we had the first version of the product, and we provide aviation radio communication training.
Okay.
Our approach to this is basically provide student pilots, like flight enthusiasts, like anybody, the standard way, to talk to air traffic controllers. So phraseology, procedures. So we created ARSim standalone tool to do that. You can download it on iPad, Android, iPhone, access on the web. And what it does, it's got a built-in training curriculum. Mm-hmm. You start from, how do I say the phonetic alphabet, all the way to shooting instrument approaches, but following FAA or RKO standards. In the sim itself, you get to press the mic, talk. We score what you say, how you say it. We give you feedback. You get to hear our ATC AI talk to you, back and forth, all phases of flight. So it's about 7 years now that's been out there. Like I said, got thousands of users in the US, across the world, different kind of organizations, including military. And it's been an awesome tool. The big thing that pilots that use it in flight training find, it's one of the things that removes a lot of the stresses, that you have to do while flying, and it really opens up brain space and brain capacity to do the other fun parts of flying. It's not maybe like an exciting part of aviation, but it's one of the necessities, and it makes everything else better and more effective.
Yeah, obviously FlightSim is always, a lot of them are on the IVEO networks, the VATSIM networks. When I first started out, the communication thing was the most daunting thing, right? Because you know how to fly the aircraft, but communicating is crazy. You've got to get the right things in the right order, the readbacks and all that kind of stuff. I think I probably spent a few hours just sitting and listening before I even keyed the mic to go, yeah.
Exactly. Well, call that brain freeze, mic freeze, or whatever it is. I've had an experience myself flying, just push the mic. You're like, what did I just say? Yeah.
So, how did you, obviously you saw a problem in the market, probably from personal experience.
Yes, definitely.
How did you think of, the product itself and go, okay, that would really, really work?
Yeah, well, part of it was, again, just like anybody out there, and just like you mentioned, right, I'm going to spend time listening to stuff like live ATC or like video, or, we even bought, doing it with, my partner, like handheld radios. You just tune into tower at our local airport and just you're listening. But like the part that's missing, there's I'm listening, I can say it in my head, but did I get it right? You're not practicing. So we saw, the really missing part is that active participation,
right?
In it. So I said, the main component of this has to be me doing something, not just listening. So that's why we created. And obviously, the part that comes is like, okay, I'm listening, I'm saying, but did I do it right? So added that assessment and evaluation portion, then you get the feedback, really like closing that loop to I'm actually learning and I'm getting better. So it was those little pieces that we wanted to put together. And then obviously we started the environment was different, but how do you do this so it's actually meaningful? We wanted to intentionally stay away from like simulating flight and you having to control the airplane, so you just focus on this task. So bring in some of the visual and create the situational awareness from a comms perspective, right? Maybe you can look at a map, maybe you can look at like a PFD, like to see where do I read my altitude, stuff that you have to do, like while flying, and obviously put in the variability. If I key the mic, if I do the same scenario next time, it's different.
Yeah.
If there are multiple runways, it's going to be a different runway. The approach is going to be different. So create that as you're actually, again, learning, not just memorizing, but again, in a focused way. So when I add the extra task is like, no, now I have to know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Something else to think about. I'm not thinking about this one.
And obviously we've seen the use of AI in practically everything in the world now. Anything digital is there's a link to AI.
Yep.
How much of your current product works with AI, and where do you see AI being useful in the future?
So we've started like a while ago. So like our approach has evolved, like with that. Definitely. So we use AI. So like the ATC entities that I'm talking to in ARSim are synthetic. So it's AI based. So when you hear like ATC talking to you, we're using some of the AI both like to generate some of the voices, to generate some of the logic and how they're thinking. And then actually like a couple months ago, one of the additions was when you're doing that back and forth, you're getting scored, give some agency to the AI to actually give you feedback in a verbal way. So like tower will come back to say, hey, aircraft calling, what was your call sign again, your location? Because you missed it, right? So you have a little bit more conversational like aspect. So you're getting feedback from ATC AI itself. So that's been like a really neat addition to this. And then obviously the next part has to do with, we love what we've done, it's been effective, but bringing this capability inside the flight simulator. So increasing the complexity of your training environment, and AI plays a big role in that we are including in the tool. Just because you jump in the simulator, you are in control. You decide which way you turn. Yeah. You decide what requests you're going to make. So that has evolved our ATC AI, and it's using like a lot of AI to be able to really respond to you as a traffic center approach. Like we'll be talking to you. Yeah. So give it a lot more flexibility and allow you to really run the scenario that you want to do, and then run the flight the way that you want to do. But that entity is there, and it's not freezing up on you and like misunderstanding what you're saying. And the other aspect of it that I think like we're unique in providing is, so you have the AI, you're conversing with it, but at the same time, like we're assessing what you're saying, we're assessing what you're doing, and we're going to give you feedback on what you said. So in some regard, the AI might be good enough to understand what you meant, but you didn't say it the right way, and you still miss some critical information that maybe if you're talking to a tower, they might say, hey, I got a phone number for you, right? Trying to avoid those things, so give you the feedback, so you're getting better, but in this more realistic and complex environment. So coupling the realistic experience with that instructional, educational, like aspect of it. So we're excited about doing that, and I think, like AI provides a lot of help in various areas, but that's been one of the places where we're utilizing this and bringing that to the flight simulator. Yeah,
I don't imagine your AI agent is going to be it's going to be way nicer than those controllers at JFK.
Well, actually, so some of the neat capabilities that we're giving them, they have different personalities. So we're letting the users decide. So right now, I'm not going to go crazy with it, but we're picking like somebody that's more friendly, more neutral, and maybe, I don't know what name we're going to give him. Well, not quite, but yes, like a little bit more stringent, more demanding, maybe in a bad mood, like controller. And that's the neat part about AI. So you can give those personality traits. He's giving you the same information, but their tone is changing, their sense of urgency is changing, and that's a neat thing that we can add to it. To make for those. Maybe it's going to make you sweat and see some of the implications of while you're flying on your sim.
So, what's some of the crazy scenarios that you've seen the platform sort of kick out and respond to?
Well, I think, we did some of the, I don't know if it's crazy, but when we were playing around with this, with some of this personality stuff, that we had one, it was, like the funny one, so they had, I don't know what AI funny is, but, so, we were like pilots or students just missing some of the information, right, and then they have the AI come back and, hey, let's try it again with a little bit more, I don't know what word they used, right, but it's kind of like on the responses, like throws you back a little bit. In terms of the scenarios, we've been intentional letting the users do them, so it's been a little bit whatever you're, I don't know if you can encounter the testing that we've done. I guess has been a little bit more mainstream, right? But an important aspect of that is our work building on top of the AI models that are there, building our own AI models, is trying to really control the responses and how the AI model is behaving. So, I mean, I like to test our things like in the beginning, like I keep the mic tower, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm looking for a coffee shop, just intentional, right? And it will respond to you and give you some stuff like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the air, I'm trying to land, that doesn't make sense. So putting some of those boundaries, so when you're talking to them, like it's actually giving you something reasonable and give it personality to be like, I don't know who you're talking to, but I think you want to land, right?
Yeah.
So it's driving it there. So it's actually an ATC AI, and it's not going along all the other stuff that an AI can do. So it's been a lot of work to bring it to like, hey, you're an ATC and stick to that. So maybe not quite like a JFK controller, but something that's doing that as a day job.
Yeah, and obviously there's a real tangible, real world application from your product. Have you had like real life testimonials that are pilots going, I handled this so well because it's actually a scenario that we did with PlaneEnglish, or what are some of the real world success stories that you've had?
No, I mean, so we've had, like I said, 7 years of using the product with most of our current customer base. So like it's student pilots and flight training institutions, and we've gotten a lot of feedback. So both from individuals, but especially from the schools. So we have a lot of Part 141 institutions that have made this mandatory as part of their program. And one of the big things that they say is that they have students, they give it to their students when they start ground school. And the instructors are the one actually making the comments. They're like, what? Like, where did you learn this? Because they get on the airplane on their first flight, they can work the radios. So, and usually the instructor is the one that does that, right? So it's been that surprise, and what it does, it makes their job easier, and it makes the training a little bit smoother. So there have been quite a few of those. On an individual level, we had, I think last year is like a school in New York. They actually operate under the JFK LaGuardia, kind of like airspace. And we had, so like it was a student pilot, and they said like, so she ended up on one of the flights crying because of the conversation with ATC. I mean, they were just tearing up on her and whatever she was doing. And it was like, I think the instructor knew about us, say, hey, let's practice it over here. And we have a lot of those like complex like airspace scenarios in the tool. And I think it was like a couple of weeks later when she got up in the air, and the instructor, like, there were no comms, went smooth, and they started commenting, hey, did you realize how much better? Like, oh my God. I mean, Again, because of the flying the airplane, she didn't realize that there is something that changed here, but she was come through, the flight went awesome. So that was awesome to hear the instructor, like he was the guy that was flying with her that told us, like a little bit later. So it's awesome. But we have, again, a lot of comments. We actually saw a lot of, 50% of the people that came by had used the product, and they're just, hey, I used you guys, like I'm not using it anymore, but it was awesome, it helped me out a bunch. So it's awesome to hear that, and it's been awesome. We're looking forward to kind of like hear it from the sim community perspective.
Well, I guess like it's really great. Sometimes the communication thing stops you from doing the aviating thing, and then it should be the other way around, right? So what's next for you and the team?
Well, so one of the things they announced a couple of days ago, it's actually launching ARSim Link, which is bringing these capabilities inside the flight simulator. So we're doing, we started the beta testing of that. We got some new users here that they'll participate in the program. So bringing these capabilities into the sim. So when you are in the sim, you can actually interact with our AI, ATC, and again, most importantly, get that feedback and assessment. A companion tool that's coming with this, it's the addition of a light simulator inside the app version itself.
Right.
So it's the intermediate between doing it in the sim, we have the full realistic and the standalone tool. We have this intermediate step when you're controlling the scenario, but you're not worrying about climb rate, descent rate. You're just turning the airplane. If somebody's telling you got to make right downwind and report base, you're actually doing that and talking. So a little bit of increased complexity to get you more comfortable again. So when you go in the sim or in the actual airplane, you have had some exposure to doing more than just the talking and more than just the flying.
And I think that's probably the difficult part, right? Is you've got the talking, the flying, the planning. That's fine independently, but doing it all at the same time, that's when the complexity comes in, right?
Exactly.
So for those at home, how can they get on board with PlaneEnglish? How can they bring it into their practice and sim eventually.
Yeah. So right now the tool, I mean, just App Store, Google Play Store, our website. Hopefully the name is memorable, but PlaneEnglish.com. But you can download it right away. You don't need an account or anything. You just download it. We have quite a few free lessons, so you can try out the capabilities, what it does, how it works, and if you like it, you can get a subscription. And if not, just make use of those modules. There are actually quite a few entire modules that are free that we think like help with safety and awareness. So they're available. For example, there's an airport module that teaches you airport signs, markings, lightings, light gun signals, free. You can even get FAA Wings credits, like for those. So again, just search for Plain English. You'll pop up, download it, try it out, and then on our website, and we'll try to use you guys and everybody when the actual version of ARSim Link comes out, make people aware of that. There's going to be, obviously, if you have the app, connections to drive you there and bring it into the flight simulator.
And you're talking about subscriptions from on top of the free platform. What sort of pricing might people see?
We have mostly, so the content, everything that you see in the app it will be available to you. It's just a matter of the timing. Do you want it monthly or like 6 or 12 months? Most of our users use this for about 6 to 12 months, get comfortable, and then you really, to be honest, you outgrow it.
Yeah.
So you're doing it, for real. So if you are on that 6 months to 1 year period, as little as $7.20. So $7 a month, basically, what you paid for the year. So if you're doing real flying, from the data that we have, just paying for this is less than a lap in the pattern. So where it's going to cost you, but it's going to save you a lot of time doing that. In the sim, you're just spending the time, but like you said, am I spending the time doing other stuff? So again, it gets you sounding professional, knowing the standards. I think
and really impressing your instructors as soon as you get straight in, right?
Well, no, that one for sure. It gets everybody at ease, right? So they know, they're like, oh, I don't have to worry about paying attention, because there's really two people listening and understanding what's going on, as opposed to that weight being on the instructor. So yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, I appreciate
it's been an absolute pleasure. And for those at home, thank you for watching. My name's been Jordan, and we're with Muharrem at ARSim. Thank you all again for watching. Keep it FSElite for everything FSExpo 2026.